In a world where comics, movies, games, rumors, and Kardashians come at you 24/7, 3 champions will rise to defend you from wasting precious time, money, and emojis. BK, Nate, and Derreck will show you how to do it the player way.
Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, this is your boy BK. It's on once again, Patron once again. Love to hear that air horn. It is the most exciting part of the week, and it's not even on the weekend this time. We had to leave it till Monday with my co-captains, Derreck.
You already know, corrupting the system right here in Dallas, Texas.
Woo! Cheap pops.
Cheap pops. I'll take it.
And Nate.
You already know. Maintain the system right here in Los Angeles, California.
Woo! That's what's up, man. At least he's being consistent. The premier blitzcast is back once again this week. The Player Way podcast, a part of the Play Your Way network. You can find us each and every week on iTunes, Google Play, and any place where you can find fine podcast curated content your way. Better said through this voice.
The Player Way.
Thank you, sir. The voice of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. Yes, and always we want to give props to @562 Comics, home of the 10-minute 562 podcast. You can find him at 562 on Instagram, and you can always find us at Play Life Your Way on Instagram, and you can always find Derreck at Corrupting the System. And if you want to see some interesting graphics, go to @NPGPX on Instagram. That is the trifecta of the Player Way podcast done
the Player Way.
Yes. It never gets old. So, with no further ado, what you guys been up to this week?
So I actually had a pretty jam-packed week.
Jam-packed!
Oh, right.
Jam-packed, man!
Yeah, took my longboard out, caught some sweet weight.
Ate some quinoa.
Caught a tasty lick!
You know, got my turkey on a ciabatta bun with some avocado on there, with my kale shake.
What artisan bread? Artisan
yes!
bread.
No, not artisan. I like to go with a ciabatta. It's
how many
more firm.
How many pictures of it did you take before you actually ingested it, or did you even eat it?
73, and I posted 4 of them.
Yes.
He speaketh the truth.
I checked out a few sequels that Derreck had watched long ago, a few months ago. First, starting off, Transformers 5.
Woo!
And I couldn't stop. Ever since you had mentioned it on the podcast, I couldn't. You were absolutely right. The black bars come on every.
Oh, God,
I want to say every 20 seconds. You know how Michael Bay likes to cut his movies. Every single cut was like black bar, cut black bar. You know, it was,
and
I kept kind of hoping.
Did it even at least do the nice like slide transition where it comes in and out like that? It just cuts in and out, jump cuts. Wow.
It would be like if you're seeing me right now, BK, and then bam, instantly it was like this. And then it would go like this, and then like this.
Oh my goodness.
It
was like it was
actually, I think mine looked a little better. Mine looked a little better than theirs did, actually.
It wasn't good. There was really, there was a lot of things that happened that I just didn't understand why it was even in there. That little girl that they put in, with the little pet transformer.
Yeah.
What purpose did she have? Like, there was no purpose.
I have no idea. Movie. Like, I like that they partially explain how she has no family, so obviously everyone's okay with some 14-year-old chick just abandoning whatever area of the world she's in to go off with this stranger, complete and utter total stranger. So I guess that's the only thing.
You mean the anime origin, where parents don't exist anymore?
Yes, exactly. They're never at home. Like in It, where there's no one parent, 2 parents, maybe. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, quickly, that's not a good movie. It sucks.
There does not need to be another one, does there?
No. No. And there does not need to be a Bumblebee spinoff set in the 80s starring a person you can't see. And I watched...
And his name is John Cena!
I watched another part 5, Pirates 5, which was... It was enjoyable. You know, I think it had the same problems the part 4 had with... It's a very forgettable supporting cast, so you don't really care about anybody...
NyQuil, the movie.
Yeah. Outside of Jack Sparrow.
This is the tale.
Yes.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
All right, that was kind of weird, but we're back in the club.
Exactly.
I enjoyed it. You know, I'm glad I didn't go to the theaters to watch it, but for what it's worth, it was enjoyable still. That's all I have to say about that. You know,
and what it's worth is ultimately it's a kids movie. Like it's a kids movie. Like it's a straight up Disney. Take your 8, 9, 11, 12-year-old to go see that movie, and that's just really what it is.
And that's the problem. And that's the problem with it because the first original trilogy was more aimed at adults than it was for children.
Yeah.
So the newer stuff, you get really lost in it.
This is
very well said.
Something that bugged me is they should never have announced that Orlando was going to be in this movie. Because one, he's only in it for a minute and a half.
Literally a minute and a half.
It would have been a nice surprise.
Unnecessarily at that.
I know. I thought he was going to come in at the end and like help save the day, but nah, that motherfucker's lazy. Did nothing. And you mentioned anime origins. My progress on Death Note. I am now on episode 17.
Ooh. Nice.
They're into jail.
Light.
That
ain't jail.
He told him to get rid of it, so he lost all his memories of the Death Note.
So what are you thinking? How are you liking the series at this point?
I do enjoy it. I will say this about animes, and I don't know if I imagine a lot of them are like this, but I keep watching this, and they do this thing where, you know, something shocking happens, and the characters go, you know, like they're making an O face, and it lingers on them. The camera pans a little bit, and they're just like, you know,
and it shows like 8 characters, and then it shows 8 characters.
Yeah. Every like 3 minutes, they do the O face. You know, the like
these are what you're describing, Nate. These are things that anime fans have come to just simply accept. It's just like side mouths. It's just like the ratio of eyes on their faces. And it's just like the fact that oftentimes normal family characters have very abusive relationships. Like it's just normal for a fist fight between mother and daughter. These are just things you just have to accept if you're going to watch an anime. That's just part of it.
Very similar to when like a sitcom runs out of things to do and all of a sudden the character grows magical powers to just stop time and speak to the audience. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did it. Zach Morris did it. Saved by the Bell. I mean, so many. Alf, I think, did it. I mean, it's just like you realize those are cosmic powers. Those are cosmic powers. You can't just do that. You got to explain that. So yeah. But do you like it though?
No, I enjoy it. It's light years ahead of what Netflix released for a live.
Yes, movie. I love light years ahead.
Light years, yes.
There's a. Hey, that was a good pun. That was unintended too.
Light years.
What'd you think of his girlfriend in the anime?
Oh my god, she's so annoying.
Yeah, you can see why we didn't like his girlfriend in the movie because they don't really show you how, like in the anime she's part of what helps accelerate him getting caught. She's such an idiot.
Stage 5 clinger too. She's like, I'll make you love me. You know, like if I heard that, I'd be like, oh my god, this I gotta get away from this one.
Creepy girlfriend meme. Embodied.
Yeah. No, that what is it? The overly attached girlfriend. Yeah, that's
exactly. Well, good. Glad that you're liking it. Are you going to continue watching it, try to finish it?
Yeah, I'll. I think there's like 30 some episodes on Netflix.
Yeah, so you don't have much left. You're over the hill for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it pans out because, especially with him losing his memories of the Death Note.
Yeah,
but he has 2 of them. which
yes, basically because she gave up. Yeah, she gave up hers first. Yeah, so yeah, it's about to get weird now. Well, that's what's up, man. I know.
Yes,
I know there was something else that you were talking about getting into this week.
This has been the highlight of my week last week. The American Vandal.
Another day, another dick. Exactly.
And it is, I don't know how far you guys watched, but it is very good. It's smartly written. You know, it's a satire, and they play it completely straight. So if you enjoy Serial, or the first season of Serial. And
yes. Very good reference for Serial.
Yeah. It's
Making a Murderer. Yes.
It's a very good mystery, too, because I was guessing throughout the whole way. It's...
well, don't spoil anything. I'm only on episode 2. Derek, where are you?
The same. I watched the opening one the other day, and I was talking with Nate. But the whole time I was watching the episode, all I could hear was Nate perfectly voiceovering another day, another
yes!
day. That's all I heard.
From the get-go, like the first scene where he's like, oh, state your name and who you are. I'm Dylan Maxwell, and I don't know. That's a stupid question. I'm Dylan, you know?
And Nate was like, you had me at hello. Where the series really got me at the funny bone, when it really finally licked my funny bone the right way that I want it to be licked, was when the kids come to the no pun intended, when the kids come to the realization that the signature of the ball sack with the hair and one is an uncircumcised penis and another one is a very perfectly circumcised penis, and they're like remarking, and like these are kids in charge of the investigation, so they're doing things that kids would do, and their like realizations are very elementary, but they're light years ahead of the adults. So it's just really hilarious. Where it's like, then he brings it to the guy, and he's like, "Guys, this is good stuff right here." Like, it's like,
he's like, "I never forget the ball hairs. That's one of the most important parts."
It's one of the most important parts.
You guys remember a book series back when we were kids, Encyclopedia Brown?
Yes, dude. Bugs Meany.
This is what I kept thinking of. Like, man, this is like the modern day encyclopedia, and the case of the dicks. You know?
Yes, it reminded me of that very much. So,
yeah, you guys are in for a treat.
It's definitely got me guessing. I love like the fact that he covered up the fact that he was going to see his girlfriend by saying that he was going to go take a shit down the street. And so his friends totally bought into that and sold that story because they refused to believe that he was hanging out with his girlfriend. And
he lied to them because he was too afraid they were going to make fun of him for being wet.
Exactly.
You know? I mean, it plays it straight. Like it takes itself very seriously, and it's great. It's one of the best original things Netflix has put out in a while.
Well, and what's surprising about it is that you're right. I'm a couple episodes in already, and I'm still trying to guess. Like, it seems obvious who it is, and at the same time, I mean, my theory is it's the kid who's doing the investigation because he just wants to have something to talk about. Because I mean, whoever did it had to have access to editing. So, like, that's the tape. The missing tape has to be the biggest linchpin of it all. Yeah. So, either that or somebody else was doing something else at the same time, so they deleted that, whatever happened on the video, and didn't realize they erased who actually did it, which means it is the guy that we all thought it was from the get-go. So, it's funny, and it leads up to what's making me smile and hurt my cheeks right now is the, like, more stuff that's going to come, like season 2. Like, what is season 2 gonna be? I'm so ready.
I don't know if you guys even noticed, like the credits, you know, where it does like stories.
Yes,
it's
Mr. Baxter. Mr. Baxter is like the executive producer. Yes, I love it. The AV Club teacher produced by Mr. Baxter. I just love it. It was amazing. Oh man. Anyway, that was amazing. Hey, Derek, what were you up to this week, man?
Well, continuing our theme with regards to Netflix, as I mentioned last week, not to be too repetitive, but I am plowing through this Narcos series, and that is by far, man, it's hotness. It's definitely hotness. I'm almost done with season 1, and it's very captivating. Like I would like to finish this all before we meet up in Atlanta. I don't think I'll be able to get through 3 seasons due to my schedule. However, it's just such a great TV show. And I did hold on. You just mentioned something real quick, man. Oh.
Before you get to where?
Well, because after the party is the Waffle House. And if you ever been here, I feel that you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You know?
Man, I know what you're talking about.
Well, people don't dance.
ATL,
all they do is...
That's where I stay.
Oh,
yeah, man. I'm excited. Sorry for interrupting you for a second.
No worries.
Yes, in less than 2 weeks. I mean, pretty much 2 weeks from now, we will all be in the same city. If you're listening to this podcast, and if you are a fan, all 3 of you who listen to the show every week, we're going to be doing a live version of the podcast on Facebook and YouTube. So stay tuned for that every week. As we're getting closer to it, we will talk about it on every podcast leading up to it. So definitely keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. But yeah, we're excited because we're going to be talking about all kinds of media. We'll be doing some food challenges and food challenges. Absolutely. Pie in the sky.
See us ride through Atlanta in a Phantom with the double doors.
Ooh, that's right. That's right.
And by Phantom, he means a 2014 Nissan Altima. But it does have push button start. So
push that brake, press that button.
Exactly. So yeah,
coming to you live from Atlanta.
But Narcos, it definitely try to get at least to season 2. Like if you can at least get season 1 under your belt, that's good. Season 3 is good, but it's more for the devotees.
I could tell
that'll be what's up.
But man, it's such a great show, and I did go ahead and finish that other animated series I told you guys about, Bordertown, which was canceled after 1 season by Fox, and it just kind of made me slightly curious. This type of show goes right into their realm of raunchy animated TV shows. And I don't know if either of you got a chance to even pilot one of them, but it just kind of surprised me that Fox would even cancel something like this. And the reasons why they described it was that it just wasn't exactly kind of the message that they wanted to put out there. However, they've been running Family Guy for 15 seasons now, and they let Cleveland Show run its course. They let American Dad run its course and everything like that. And they love, obviously, all things Seth MacFarlane. Shout out to his new TV show that just jumped off, which is another version of something he wants to put out there to say, look at me, guys. I do everything.
They still have the Simpsons, too, right?
Do what?
Yeah, they do.
Still have the Simpsons?
They still have, yeah.
I still didn't hear
the
what
Simpsons
you said.
is still on.
Oh, yes.
They still have the Simpsons, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, like I said, it was still funny. Exactly for. I mean, it's only I don't know, 10 episodes, but I did wrap that one up with regards to my Netflix loving, and coupled with everything else that's kind of out there that we just covered. It's definitely something to. It's one of those good filler TV shows to be like, hey, what am I going to watch while I'm doing this? And it's still slightly humorous. So that's kind of
which because you're in a relationship with a life partner, you absolutely have to have something in your back pocket to watch, because your partner is always going to be like, don't watch this because I want to catch up. For example, Rachel, she's catching up on Breaking Bad. No, The Walking Dead right now, because she's still at the tail end of her sickness. So she's been catching up. She just finally got to the barbed wire baseball bat goodness. So she was really shocked. So we talked about
the comedian,
what ended up happening there. Exactly. What else? Is that everything you what up, Nate?
Have you guys caught up? Like, I haven't seen the back half of season 7 for Walking Dead because I kind of just lost interest.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys finished it, but
I've never. The only time episodes I've ever seen are ones that just happen to be on. You guys got my hot take of what I think about Walking Dead.
Yes.
So
yeah, I feel like the show's slowly running its course. I don't.
It has run its course, actually. I mean, it's a great on ramp for I think it's a great on ramp. It's a great on ramp for reading the American manga or comic book of it, which I think is way better than the series. And that's why I know it's still going on, because Rachel, she can watch like a bit of an episode and I'll get into bed and she'll be still watching something. And so I know, so she'll be like, have you seen this episode? I'm like, no, I haven't seen this episode, but I know exactly what's going on. So, I mean, yeah, so I've watched beyond their attempt to try to get people back, which was what the whole Lucille episode was about. But I mean, I think that's all. As in Derek,
is it like a seal that escaped from like the zoo? Because there was a loose seal one time that took Buster Blue's
I was about to
hand.
give you credit. I was about to give you credit for something real quick, so you might listen up.
He said,
Derek,
"Shut up and let me finish."
I get Derek. I give Derek 100% credit for this statement, because I haven't heard anyone else bow tie it up as well. But Walking Dead is only good for like an episode at the beginning of the season and an episode at the end of the season to shock people into watching it.
Wow.
And actually, you may not have been the person who said that. I think you might have said something similar to it, but
I said that Walking Dead is in essence a zombie movie stretched out into how many seasons, and then I broke it down into survivors, victims, new friends, survivors, victims, new friends, so on and so forth.
Actually, the credit that goes to Jonathan Barron, friend of the show, who is on
Derek backs into the bushes.
Exactly. Homer Simpson style. Bring it full circle. But no, Jonathan Barron on Weekly Games Chat, he said that the only thing that Walking Dead is good for is that opening episode, which there's always something shocking there, and then the last episode of the season, and then everything else in between is bullshit. You know, so like, basically.
Yeah, it was much better when they followed the comics more. When they started to deviate, like some of the worst parts of the show were stuff they made up.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. Well,
so
that's all I have to say about that.
What about you? So, Derek, did we wrap up your week?
I did sneak into the box office to.
All right. Well, let's hold on to that. Let me. I didn't do much this week because I was working. I had a very busy week at work, to be honest. So gotcha. Out of respect of wanting to keep my job, I'll just leave it at that. I by the way, on the record, I love my job and I enjoy every single minute and second of it at all times, regardless of the rigor it requires. That being said, because
how many G's were in that?
Exactly. So, but due to the rigor, I didn't really have much time to watch much. I did get a chance to go in there and take a look at, American Vandal. I did get.
Was there any Crunchyroll goodness for you?
I did get up on some Crunchyroll goodness. I did watch some Death Note, the series. Okay. So that kind of goes with what Nate was saying earlier. But for the most part, I did some liquid or audio only listening this week. And I got to listen to Action Bronson's brand new album, Blue Chips 7000. I'm a huge fan of Action Bronson. He came out with Mr. Wonderful in 2015, which was pretty much his breakthrough album that got him on, got his show like everywhere. He was mainly this guy who was doing stuff on YouTube, and now he's on Viceland on cable, and he's everywhere. And as a result, on Tuesday of this past week, his new cookbook, Fuck That's Delicious, came out. So I also copped that the day it came out. And it's a hilarious cookbook. If you're looking for something to have around the house that you got to duct tape over so the kids can't read bad words, Derek, I highly recommend it. Yes. I believe that recipe, he's talking about, if he's talking about food, I believe that it would be delicious, because I wholeheartedly believe it. But it's not just, but it's like, to me, I feel like if you're not a foodie, but you like Action Bronson and you like what he's all about and you want to get into being a foodie, this is another on-ramp. Got a theme going this episode. Another good on-ramp, because the first recipe in the cookbook is Crispix in a bowl over the sink. Like, literally, a bowl of Crispix eaten in a bowl over the sink. That's his, and he teaches you how to make a bowl of Crispix. It's so funny. And
which is something we've all done at some point.
It reminded me of you, because why would a speech about how to eat something basic, remind me of you.
You wouldn't be talking about a certain chicken establishment, would you?
No, it's not that.
Oh, not the chicken.
No, it has to do with high school speech class.
Oh, no. Derek covers his face with his 10-gallon cowboy hat, realizing what BK is referring to.
All right, let me set it up. Let me set it up.
Do it.
Let me set it up. All right, so
you
Derek
tell
and
it
I,
all.
we have known each other. Derek and I have known each other for a long time, y'all. And Derek is the urban cowboy. He is the master of stringing disparate pieces of information together to make it look like he had the good idea all along. And he was a bit of a con artist even back in high school. So we had this speech assignment in speech class. And Derek and I didn't do anything. Like, we really didn't do much. I think my speech was on how to make a character in WWF SmackDown.
Yes, it was. How to make how to create a character in WWF SmackDown. So this already timelines us already and dates us, which I don't mind.
Yes. So it was WWF SmackDown Know Your Role, to be exact. And then Derek's speech was on how to order a Blimpie sub.
How to make.
And he brought
how to make.
It was basically how to order one, and he brought meats and cheeses and breads, and he resorted to make a sandwich as his speech in front of the whole
because we had to
classroom.
do it. It was a how-to thing, and I'm like, there's lots of steps to making a sandwich, and the plus side of this is I already made my lunch for the day. I get to eat the profits, y'all, and get an A. Shout out to Miss Zimmerman for putting up with the crazy action.
Yes, Mrs. Zimmerman, she raised the crazy action.
The player way.
Right, the player way. So, yeah, so that's what's up, man. So, yeah, so reading that cookbook reminded me of you. Definitely, we might have to make some recipes out of that when we see each other in Atlanta. And then outside of that, not only did Mr. Wonderful Action Bronson come out with a new album, so did Little Dicky. Came out with a new album on Tidal, direct to consumer. So the only place that you can actually get his new album, I'm Brain, using the same exact animation as Brain or some other shit. I've been. Yeah, so that's on Tidal right now if you want to listen to that. So that's what I got going on that's what I had going on this past week. And to typify my whole week, my co-captains watched the information technology specialist clown, otherwise known as IT, not IT. He continued to dominate the box office, and on a Tuesday after the hurricane, everybody here in Atlanta was ready to actually go do something because they were stuck inside with their kids all weekend.
Ricketts.
Schools were closed all the way through Wednesday, so all you saw on Tuesday afternoon was just kids everywhere, all over town, because everyone had cabin fever, and unprecedented. I mean, in Atlanta, it was going up on a Tuesday, and it was sold out at every theater at the prime time. So we ended up having to wait till the second showing around 8:00 that night, and we got to see it, and it was scrumptious.
What'd you think about it, man? How'd you did you kind of see? Tell us what you thought about it.
Here's what happened. Because we were stuck inside because of the hurricane. By the way, shout out to every person who kind of went through that, and hopefully you're getting your life back together. While we joke about a lot of things, we don't want to joke about the weather. Climate change is a real thing, and we have to learn to kind of adapt to it because we have not adapted to nature over time. So shouts out to everybody who's still making it through. If you're listening to this, feel free to write us, hit us in our DMs, and share your stories with us if you would like. Sometimes that kind of thing is therapeutic. But getting back to it, since we couldn't go out, Rachel had never seen the original, like Nate hadn't seen it. So I actually rented both parts of it, which they kind of sell it as a supercut these days instead of a 2-part miniseries. And so we watched the whole thing, and then she saw the movie, and she appreciated it a lot more because there's so many things going on that you can see happening. I think this version of Pennywise is superior. I think this film was amazing, and boy, did those kids get it. I've never seen kids so killed so artistically and graphically in my life. Georgie got the business.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like, arm pulled out the socket.
What was his death like in the original?
You don't see it.
Non-existent, just like a quick
No,
cut,
it wasn't non-existent. It's like
camera.
you saw him get taken into the sewers, and that is pretty much the summation. Like, you knew he lost an arm, but that's about it. Like,
No, like, and not even that. Like, here's what happened in the original. Okay, so first of all, you see in this version, Georgie runs down the street and he avoids one of the little pylons. He goes underneath, and then there's another one right behind that. Well, in the original, there's only one of them, so that's actually a nod to if you saw the original film, because he goes underneath one just like he did in the original film, but then there's one right behind it, so it's actually jarring to you if you saw the original film, because you're like, oh, he didn't hit his head. So already they're okay with showing you, we're going to hurt kids in this movie, so just get ready. This is just the beginning of it. So then when you see Pennywise talking to him in the original movie, he reaches his hand down into the cellar area or whatever, the storm drain, and you see its teeth kind of come out a little bit, but that's like it. That's it. Like, you don't see his arm come off, and you don't see him go anywhere, and you don't see any blood. Like, that's it.
definitely not a pool of blood waiting to wash down the storm drain. While a lady looks out of her house and is perfectly fine with seeing a kid that disappears and then a pool of blood. Oh, let me just... And she didn't even finish the task that she stepped out of her house to do. She fixed one of the blinds and then just was like, this is the world we live in. This is Derry, Maine. Hey, this is Derry, Maine. Like,
so
how did she not trip out?
So that was interesting for sure. I loved all of... The one thing they didn't really hit on too much, they kind of did, but Pennywise in the original plays off of a lot of the Universal Studios monsters. So if you watch the original, he like actually embodies, because the movie takes place in like the 50s, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, the Mummy, these are all characters that kids are afraid of at that period of time. But now, like back in the 80s, those weren't as popular as much. So there is a period of time where they're all in the kitchen in that haunted house in this version, where you do see him slightly turn into a werewolf for a little bit, but they don't really go all the way in on it. Shouts out to the kid that played the comedian. In the original, Nate, Nate, if you have not seen the original, Seth Green actually plays that part.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
As a kid.
And he
does
nailed
an amazing
it.
job in
and
that
he
too.
nailed it.
He does an amazing, Seth Green as a child does that part.
He shows you that he was going to be something like in that movie. Like, you knew that Seth Green was going to be.
So that's the reason why this kid really had to bring it, because, I mean, he brought it, man. Have you ever seen that movie Sidekicks with Chuck Norris?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that kid played the main character in it as a kid. So you can imagine the star power.
The guy that stutters?
Yeah. And he did. So this kid did a really good job, because that's a great actor.
Boy from the Waltons? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the kid who killed himself when he got older,
yes. So, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's one of those things where this cast really brought it. I was very impressed. I got a feeling that they're going to go into more of the metaphysical parts of the lore of Pennywise and the deadlights that they didn't do in the original film, because CGI wasn't what it is now, and practical effects weren't what it is now. So, like in the original,
what it was.
I don't want to spoil it for Nate, but anyway, you should go back and watch the original, Nate. You'll appreciate it, I think. And then we could talk. I'd love to come back to it at another time and see what you thought after watching that too.
I'm really curious as to who they're going to get to play the adult versions, because now that this movie has been so successful, they can pretty much pick and choose whoever they want. So that's
Charlie Hunnam.
Dude,
oh wait,
all right, Charlie Hunnam. Hey, ensemble cast.
Hey, this is his opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important that they really do a good job with the casting of the adults, because the adults in the original, you had like John Ritter, the guy who was on Three's Company?
John Ritter.
He was one of them. And then they had the black guy from Terminator. Oh, no, it's not. It was the
dad from Sister Sister?
Tim Reed. Yeah, Tim Reed, because he also was on WKRP in Cincinnati, so he was good.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How many people don't know about? I'm sorry, man. You just got me too. Like, wow,
baby. If you ever wondered whatever became of me, I'm living on the air in Cincinnati.
Oh,
Cincinnati, WKRP.
That's what I'm Cincinnati.
Yeah, WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah,
exactly. But no,
wow.
it was a really. Listen, my mom was one of those parents who, I was a latchkey kid at Derreck, like, you know it. And my mom, whereas you read books as a kid, I consumed sitcoms. So name a series and I could pretty much sing the theme song. It's one of my rare talents that gets me free beer from time to time.
100% correct. You're right. 100% on the Tim Reed. You already mentioned John Ritter as well too. Yeah, Richard Thomas was the guy that played the stuttering kid, who was also well known for John Boy on the Waltons.
Yes, exactly. So definitely, a pretty good cast. Even the lady, she was in a lot of stuff too. What was her name? That actress.
The lady. Let's see. That played Beverly, Annette O'Toole.
Oh yeah, she played Martha Kent in Smallville.
Yes, she sure did. And she was in. And she was actually in Superman 3.
Huh. Why did you sit that day?
Oh, was she Lana Lang in Superman 3?
Yes.
Woo! Nate can do it in 1 second, y'all. 1 second.
Superman 3. Away.
Can
Superman
anybody
3,
else name another actor or
the
actress?
best Superman movie ever made, right above Superman 4: Quest for Peace.
Richard Pryor, baby.
Oh god, that was such a stupid movie. Especially when he
get me out of this dumpster. Is that the one where he's in the dumpster and he's about to die from getting crushed by the trash?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's not as bad as Superman 2 with the plastic finisher off his suit. Let's not forget that he ripped off like a piece of plastic. Well, this is, and the Family Guy did that parody. Oh, well, this is mildly annoying, Superman. Like, yes, exactly.
People talk about like the Donner Superman like it was the second coming. Like this is the greatest piece of comic book cinema to ever be made, but. Like the Burton movies, I don't think they hold up very well.
Dude, the first one's pretty damn good though. The first one, if you're talking about
he travels back in time to save Lois.
But if you compare like Action Comics #1 to that movie, it's pretty damn good, bro.
Yeah, I agree. For that time and place, 30 years ago, it was fantastic.
Yeah. Just like the first Tim Burton. No. I mean. Well, yeah, the Prince part. You're right. I can't forgive the Prince.
Or where Jack Nicholson takes out like a 10-foot long pistol and shoots the Batwing down.
And we're back from a first technical difficulty where I actually said that something was amazing, and it clearly wasn't. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
It's okay. Yeah, so we all suffer from that because, take the Never-Ending Story. I glorified that movie as a kid. When I watched it as an adult, I was like, this is the most disjointed, terribly told story I've ever seen. Like, how does no one wonder where this kid is just stuck in school? Like, all the logical parts of it as an adult, but as a kid. So you can't beat yourself up too much. We all have those movies that were, like, incredible as kids.
The nostalgia.
Yes,
and
that's the part.
To be completely fair, there could quite possibly be a time where we'll look back at, Avengers 1 and think like, what the hell were they thinking?
And what's crazy is that's possible. That's possible.
Absolutely.
Probable, actually.
Man. What else we got, Derek?
Well, with you mentioning just DC reminds me of a few trailers I saw in front of a movie, which I got treated to seeing a new Black Panther trailer, a new Thor trailer, and a new Justice League trailer all in front of this movie I saw, which ironically and crazily had nothing to do with the movie I was going to see, but it was still that was pretty exciting. So you just reminded me.
Well, it sounds like the box office hustled its way into your week.
Oh, it did ear hustle, but let's go ahead and head up in there and talk about it.
So, Derek, I take that meaning you want to go ahead and go on with the box office hustle?
Yeah, let's do that.
Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
Yes, can I have your attention, please? Box office hustle.
All right, it's time for the box office hustle.
All right, cut and print. Beautiful guys.
Every
Yeah,
time.
let's
Don't you
do
get? Don't
that.
you get? Beginning, middle, end.
Rachel finally picked up on the inside joke on this actual section.
Oh yeah.
It's like, does he say it like that every single time? I'm like, yes,
Yes.
you finally got it.
Please say yes every
Yes.
time he says it because it's a recording.
Box office hustle, Derek, take it away.
Well, as we've touched on it already, that did go ahead and dominate this weekend as we predicted, and I'm going to give a specific shout out to Nate for calling it almost right on the button at 60.1 million. So most impressive, Nate. Very, very impressive. American Assassin came in second at 14, and Mother came in at 7.5.
14 million?
Yeah, I'm super surprised, but
Wow.
with it being out there taking 60 million, like it's, I mean, it
Wasn't
is
much left
crushing.
over.
It is crushing everything. But I did go see Mother, which is directed by Darren Aronofsky. He's a very unique director, would you say, Nate?
Yeah.
Very.
Have you seen Black Swan, Derek?
Oh yeah, totally. And I really enjoyed that. I have seeing this movie Mother makes me want. I'm gonna go watch Noah now just because I went and saw Mother. Just because I was like, if this is how it is. And here's the thing: Mother was improperly promoted and marketed, and you know how we love marketing, Nate. Shout out to us a while back. This one was marketed as a horror movie, but it is not a horror movie in any way, shape, or form.
And
So
to back you up, to show you how right you are, I saw Seth Meyers. He has a late show on NBC, and Jennifer, what's her name? The girl who's in this movie,
Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence was on Seth Meyers, and Seth Meyers kind of called her out about that. He said, "Now I saw this film, and I gotta tell you, I don't really feel like it's a horror movie." And she admitted, yeah, it's not necessarily a horror film, but with the twist that happened in it, it's kind of impossible to market it any other way until you actually see the film. Would you agree with that?
I feel that with the minds in Hollywood that have to do with this, I feel like there's somebody that's much higher than my pay grade that they could have marketed this as an artistic film as for exactly what it is. I read a beautiful synopsis of this by Matt Goldberg off of Collider.com, and he lays it out perfectly for exactly what this is. And I'm going to be honest, as I was watching it, I love trying to dissect a movie. Like, I'm that person, like when I watch Interstellar, yes, Christopher Nolan, I don't care, y'all already know the pineapple juice situation there. When I watch Interstellar, when I watch Inception, I am trying to dissect everything because I want to get to the solution and figure it out before they tell me. So it's a fun little game I like to do. So this, I did that the whole movie trying to figure it out. And I put it together and told Priscilla, I'm like, this is what this movie is about. I 100% assure you. And then I come across this article. So to your point of it being marketed as a horror movie incorrectly, kind of backing me up, I appreciate that. It was marketed incorrectly. This is not a horror movie. What this is, and this is going to be a spoiler. If you plan to see this, go ahead and skip forward a couple minutes, just a couple of minutes, because I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but exclusive.
The Player Way.
Exclusive. I feel that people who went to go see this who maybe didn't understand what it was about or had no interest in this type of thing. I do have a big interest in all theology, religion. I have a very scientific and brain surrounding this. So watching this movie and realizing that this is 100%, this is an allegory about God and the earth. That's what this is about. Javier Bardem's character is referred to as the poet, plays God, and Jennifer Lawrence's character, it plays Earth. And as I'm watching the movie, like I said, it took me a while to figure this out, but everything that kept happening, I'm like, boom, this has to be this. This only makes sense with this. This goes here. And I pieced it all together. And that's what this movie is about. Now, that doesn't ruin...
Similar? So that being said, that puts me in the mind state of What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. And is it similar to that?
It's similar. It's very, very like that. Like, say that.
Where he goes
Robin
to hell.
Williams
Yes,
travels
yeah,
to hell
yeah.
to
That
save his wife.
Yeah, this is very like as I'm watching the characters because it's marketed like it has a very Get Out kind of feel. Like, who are these people coming in my house? What's going on? and then you realize exactly what each character is and represents, and it makes perfect sense once you latch on to the fact of Javier Bardem is playing God and Jennifer Lawrence is playing Earth, and that's what this house represents. Once you realize that, every single thing about this movie falls perfectly into place with regards to the Old Testament and what we do and what we've done as humanity and everything like that. Like, it's legit.
Okay, this makes me want to go see it now. So who is Michelle Pfeiffer then?
I have no problem answering that question for you right now. If you want me to go ahead and just spoil it for you, that's cool. But he's giving me the thumbs up, so that means BK Jackson likes this. Ed Harris comes into the movie early on, and Ed Harris. He's introduced as a doctor. He has a cough.
Hold on, I gotta say it. Hold on, Joey, I know it's you. Come on, why don't you just tell your wife who you really are, Joey? Let's go on back to Philly.
He's introduced into here, and we see his character, and it's like an unwelcome house guest that just shows up. However, Javier Bardem's character or the poet rather, just takes him in. And then later on we meet Michelle Pfeiffer, who is Ed Harris's wife. And if you can guess who these two characters would represent, there's a time where you see Ed Harris puking in the bathroom, and he has this clear and obvious wound on his back, and Javier the poet, covers his hand up, so it's boom, that's where his rib would have been.
You don't even need to say it. You don't even need to say who it is. We got it.
I'm gonna kind of leave it there for you. I'm not gonna dissect everything else.
Love it.
But honestly, if you
story.
watch it going into it knowing that, this is a great film, and it is a great film.
And Mother Earth.
Exactly.
Title, Mother Earth.
Like once you have everything lined out, this thing puts it all together for you, and you figure it out. Like I said, I enjoyed playing the game of trying to figure out through the movie and piecing all these things that I naturally knew anyway, and then just watching how Darren puts this together on this film. It is beautifully done. I definitely recommend it. This is a good film, gentlemen. You should at least see this. Like, if you did enjoy Black Swan, if you enjoy anything Darren Aronofsky, this is a really, really good film. Like I said, I feel like the average moviegoer who's watching this, who won't know what's going on, they will be disappointed. I even saw a couple leave about 20 minutes left in this movie, and I don't know if they had a family emergency or something like that, but they just kind of left, and I'm just like, and they really missed out on it, because this is a really good film. And I said I wasn't going to take too much time on it, but I definitely recommend it because it is very artistically done. The sound effects in there it keeps you engaged in a way that you just need to be paying attention, and you really enjoy the product once you take the time to actually stop and smell these roses. And Darren Aronofsky has a beautiful rose bush in this one.
Man, I love the on-ramp sale for that, man. I love that. I definitely go ahead.
Yeah, man. I was just going down the highway watching this one. Sorry, I didn't know how to put a highway on-ramp one in there. You're the master of that one, dude. I'm sorry. I only had a rose bush.
Hey, you all good. What else we got, man?
Well, besides that, Jim, box office wise, like I said, the trailers. Yes,
you didn't even talk about the trailers yet.
Yeah, I got to see the new Thor trailer, which I'm going to go ahead and preface. What's my number one frustration with all trailers these days?
Probably show too much.
Yes, and it's like I don't want to spoil it, but no one cares. No one cares. Everyone's just cool with it. I got to see exactly what the outcome of the Thor Hulk fight will be in that arena. Like, they clearly show that. They clearly show this part of that I wholeheartedly believe is going to be a climactic scene of this movie, where Thor is literally invigorated with lightning all around him to where his eyes are glowing. And I'm just like, who are you? Oh, I am the god of thunder. And then he's surrounded by lightning. Thunder is just a sound. He's not the god of lightning, but whatever. It's Norse mythology. It's Marvel. I'm not going to be upset about it.
Boom, 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 boom.
Hey!
Boom, 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 boom. God of thunder!
Is this
in rock and roll,
where she's like, I'm the goddess of death, what are you the god of again?
Yes, exactly.
He does the hero jump, and
then he looks like a Super Saiyan.
He gets his powers back.
He looks like exactly.
So
clearly,
what was
when
the
he
point
gets
of showing us that Mjolnir or that Meow
Meow
crushed. That Meow Meow gets crushed at the very beginning of the trailer. Like, why?
It matters not.
Why?
Like, he gets kidnapped. Let's give him a haircut. Let's make sure he's all faded up right. And we know that he's going to, like, it's so frustrating. Like, we've discussed this before. Like, why can't it just be the old school ways? 1 or 2 trailers. Like, they don't have to grab us even more. Like, they know that people are going to go see it, right? Like, they know that people,
they got our money already.
like, I don't know.
I've noticed, though, I mean, especially when it comes to Marvel, and you guys know me, I'm a sucker for Marvel, so I'll defend them to the day I die.
A sucker,
but,
huh? You like that?
He said he's a sucker. He did not say anything else.
Hold my
that.
beer. But
what he was actually saying, ladies and gentlemen, was meow meow.
Meow, meow.
you know, they do show a lot in their trailers, but it's also known at this point, like, they do have a lot more that they don't show. You know, when it comes to their films.
They do. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's just now I know for a fact how he's going to get thrown out of the arena. I know that he's going to be, you know, imbued with thunder power in the form of lightning, just to, and it, you know
that he's going to get his powers back.
Yes, exactly. Which is, I mean, I guess it's not like this great grand reveal or anything like that, but I would have liked to have just seen that in the movie. And Justice League, I feel like it was a very similar trailer to the one that dropped for SDCC. How I feel like I got to see a couple of the different reshoots, even though I am looking forward to that villain Born to be Wild, also known as Steppenwolf, if you like how I did that, gentlemen.
Riding down the highway.
Yes. And I got to see it made me laugh openly in the theater because I saw a clip in which Batman was fist fighting Steppenwolf and with no suit.
Yes, he is fighting a god. Yes,
fist
you
fighting,
are correct, Nate.
Fist fighting. Like I was just like, oh, come on! Like, we already know how Batman fanboys are, but to even do this, y'all gonna do this and let him go to fisticuffs with Darkseid's uncle like that? But so I'm interested to see how that one's gonna come together. I still feel that November will belong to Thor, but it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a slobber knocker. But that's yeah. Throwback to, since we're just referring to Odd B, I just figured we'd go back to everything. Daniel Weir and everybody.
Well, listen, I'm telling you, if we're gonna do a quick little segue, a quick little segue. You said slobber knocker. If you're a WWE fan right now and you hate Roman Reigns and you want to see him get his ass handed to him week by week, in John Cena showing him how to get those veteran mic skills off by burying him every single week, go on to YouTube. I told you guys that in the previous episode. John Cena spares no expense every single week in just showing you how terrible Roman Reigns mic skills are. We've all been complaining about this for a long time, and now he's getting his come up. And so get a good laugh, subscribe, get your issue.
You know, speaking of people with terrible mic skills, and this is, do you guys remember, you ever watched like YouTube clip compilations of the Ultimate Warriors promos?
Yes! Then he puts the lightning in the fuel! Then he puts the lightning in the fuel!
Like, that is my bar for the worst that you can get is
Bro,
Ultimate Warrior.
If you want, look, Ultimate Warrior, in my opinion, his promos were the genesis of Adult Swim. Like, what the hell is happening right now? Go watch old school clips. He puts the lightning in the fuel. You put lightning in the fuel? That sounds like an explosion.
It's like Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. It puts the lotion on its skin.
I'm telling you, bro, you got to go back and watch those, dude. Yeah, it was hilarious. Through the spirit of the Warriors, and the Warriors will never die. This man actually had his name. He actually had his legal name changed to Warrior. His real name was Warrior.
I did not know that. Oh my!
Yes.
Oh my!
It's that serious. That's yes. Back in the day, which was a Wednesday, apparently. I used to say it was a Tuesday, but Derreck said it was a Wednesday. Listen, it was one of those things where there's a couple things that could happen back in the day. One, kids could bike ride all day long and never run out of energy and never get hit by cars. Two, a guy could could drive around in a white van all day long, not giving away ice cream, but giving away free candy, and he lived to tell about it. And three, a man who was legit crazy could go on national television and just say whatever, and we would all cheer for him rather than say, let's get this man some help.
He needs some help. He needs some milk.
Well, he was, in all fairness, like, he was so cool until he opened his mouth. Like, you remember how he used to just run to the ring? Like, instead of having, like, some sort of entrance, he would just run straight in there. This dude was buff. He got war paint on him. And you're like, God, this guy means business.
Man, well,
opens mouth.
But then when you think about that, you're like, okay, he ran into the ring, legit. Do you know how exhausting that is?
Like, did he shake the ropes like he was going into epilepsy?
He was hyperactive. Something was wrong with him. That's why.
Yeah. Cocaine's a hell of a drug, man.
Heck yeah, dude. Shout out to WWE.
Man.
But yeah, sorry to segue out of that for a second. Go ahead, bro.
No, that's all good, dude. That's all good. Like wrestling, I feel like it's always a good nostalgic trip down memory lane and current lane to jump in the WWF.
While we're on the subject of wrestling, this seems like an appropriate time for one of my moment of silences. This is actually a very serious one. Yesterday, Bobby the Brain Heenan passed away.
I'm so glad you said that. Bobby the Brain, he was battling. I think he had throat cancer, and then they had to like remove the same thing that happened with Roger Ebert. He had like his bottom jaw removed or whatever.
Yeah,
the Brain had that same thing, and he was still doing appearances and stuff, but he was battling with it for a long time. So while it is very sad for him to leave the earth, I am happy that, and I know many people are happy that he's getting his rest, because there's only so much you can subside as a human before it's like you're just surviving at this point. You're not really living anymore. So shout out to him. Bobby the Brain Heenan, in my opinion, is the best manager of all time. Paul Heyman right now is like the dude flying high, but he has nothing. He has nothing on Bobby the Brain Heenan. He's the guy. He's the mastermind behind being a manager and wrote the book.
Promoting those products and everything, man.
Well, not just that, but also creating the role of the manager, the guy, Paul Bearer. There would be no Paul Bearer if it wasn't. Yeah, essentially a guy who has no wrestling skills whatsoever, but he understands the psychology of it. So he ends up being the guy on the mic for a guy who has no mic skills. So very similar to what Paul
the
Heyman
Warrior.
is for.
The Warrior could have used one of those guys.
Well, that was just majestic. So it was good that he got that. but like Brock Lesnar is just a body. He's just a beast. So if it wasn't for Paul Heyman, there would be no the next big thing, Brock Lesnar, or the Beast incarnate. So Bobby the Brain Heenan, he started that. I mean, he worked with the best there ever were in many cases. So. I appreciate that moment of silence. If you're a wrestling fan, you are enjoying this episode.
Yes, it's time for the Sports Rundown, brought to you by the Playaway Podcast. Take it away, gentlemen.
It's time.
I'm 20.
Your starting lineup.
It's time for the Sports Rundown.
Well, with regards to moment of silences, Nate, not to steal or hinge on that, but I may run down into this, BK, so you may want to shoot me on that side of the show too, where my Dallas Cowboys were moment of silence and horse poop yesterday. Like,
yo, Ian,
I don't even know.
Ian, I just hope you really got all of it out, because this is one of the few times that you can really just stomp all over Derreck's dream. So Ian, the Wolf Townsend, shout out to you. I know you gave it to him the player way.
It's okay.
Phrasing.
Okay,
I'm gonna go ahead and say phrasing on that one, and I'm gonna pause. But which he did. He definitely. I even took the liberty as a nice football fan to give him a public shout out of, really, Ian? That's how y'all gonna do me? And he went ahead and just ran with that.
Dude, isn't it crazy that I've known y'all that long that I was so busy I didn't watch any football. I didn't even know who the matchups were this week. But when you said, really, Ian, I knew immediately. I said the Broncos beat the Cowboys. I already knew that's what it was.
Dude, not only did they beat them, like, I knew that from watching the first part of this game, I already knew that it wasn't going to be good. And then the fact that a rain delay happened, it was not boding well. And then a prompt thrashing of 42-17 later, it was the Broncos did to the Cowboys. They had an exact game plan of what the Cowboys have been doing to everybody to run it down their throats, and they ran it down our throats just with no Vaseline. And it was just
phrasing. Pause.
And it was just brutal. So I don't really have much to say other than, yes, I was happy with the week 1 victory of the Cowboys, but the Giants did not put a good product on the field. I'm not going to sit up here and act like the Cowboys defense dominated the Giants when the Giants were not playing up to the potential that they have. And it was evident by the fact that they went up to Denver and got manhandled by a lesser offensive line. They got manhandled by a defensive line, and their offensive line was just nowhere to be seen. There were no receiver sightings. The Denver Broncos said, we're going to take Ezekiel Elliott out of the game and force your sophomore quarterback and receivers to beat our secondary, and they just simply couldn't. And it was showed. Like, they are exactly who I've known they were, to the tune of 42-17.
And I would normally feel sorry for you because I am from Dallas, Texas, even though I fly high as a Falcon these days. And I normally would have your back on this situation. But, you know, I'm a little miffed at you, Derek. I'm a little steamed because you keep corrupting because you keep corrupting my system by dropping these long stories on your Facebook timeline. And I read through the whole story and it gets down to the final conspiracy theory. Yeah. Yes, the final conspiracy theory. That the answer to all conspiracy theories is that the Atlanta Falcons blew the lead in the Super Bowl. And so when y'all let this happen by the Denver Broncos, I will say, y'all keep talking about these Falcons. Y'all keep it up, man. Meanwhile, we got our game.
You did get your game. You
Falcons
definitely did.
Certainly fucking did.
Man, they really did. I think Nate should handle this one.
To him. The Falcons are a solid team. You know, they got weapons and receivers.
Everywhere.
Their running back combo. You know, I mean,
Matty Ice.
And I think that's the reason why. And I think that's the reason why when we lose, it's like, how did you lose? How is it possible?
You guys lost because of angels in the outfield.
You ain't got the answer.
I did just find that corrupting the system deal that you are referring to, but
I'm stepping away from the microphone. I gotta actually do it.
Oh, he's about to do it. Oh, he is flapping his arms to the tune of an Atlanta Falcon rising up.
Shout out to the 90s when you could just have a stupid-ass ending to a movie and people would actually cry in the audience. And thank you for actually wasting their time and their energy.
But one plus has come out of that god-awful Falcons versus Packers game is Aaron Rodgers threw his 300th touchdown pass.
Yep.
Man,
quickest
300
of any quarterback
TDs in the league.
Yep.
And let's not forget that he was on the bench the first 4 years of his career behind Brett Favre. So he would have been at that like a long time ago. Like,
like they got hurt, man. A lot of Packers got hurt that game. Jordy got hurt. Bob got hurt.
Dude, yeah. Y'all had like 7 guys hurting. And he was still and it was still within 11 points. So considering how it was looking at the beginning of that game, like I'm gonna go back in history right now, Nate. So there was a game. This is when Brett Favre was still a quarterback, and Nathan Jones, he was not the wrestler Nathan Jones, but one of our quarterbacks came in and like hurt Brett Favre's elbow, and he took it out, and then we were up like three and a half touchdowns, and then Aaron Rodgers comes in and almost won the game. And at that moment, I was like, I don't know who that guy is or who the Green Bay Packers are cooking up behind Brett Favre, but he's legit. And it's just proved for a decade now that this guy is incredible. Even if Atlanta sent him back home with the same business that sent him packing, so to speak, with the Nell again. But,
Well, we should have an easy week next week. They play Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Cincinnati goes to Lambeau.
Yeah. If Houston beat them 13-9, I feel like Green Bay should go ahead and put the mollywhopping on them. And we did get to see Tom Terrific return back to form against the Saints. So he might have got they might have got their wheels back on, it looks like.
And kudos to the Chiefs again. I did watch that game, Chiefs versus the Eagles, and that was a good game.
Yes,
solid football on both sides of the ball. I mean, Chiefs, they look pretty good. Kareem Hunt,
they do look pretty good.
He's going to be the breakout star of the year.
Man, I just hope that injury bug doesn't sneak up on him, man, because he has a lot of ability. There, it was so weird. Just even mentioning the Cowboy game, it's so weird to see Jamal Charles to see him in a different uniform. It was just not right.
What you were gonna say?
I was gonna say the Chiefs do have a history of having really good running backs. I mean, from Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson.
Woo, Priest Holmes. Yeah. Hold on, let's not forget the Nigerian nightmare Christian Okoye from the early 90s. Okay. Let's not forget that bruising running back.
Yeah.
What I love Derreck's smile on his face, because it's like Nate is one of those guys that we've known each other for years, but like Nate is still somewhat of a quiet guy from time to time. But then he always has those hot sports opinions, and he knows those stats. So Derreck respects stats. So like when he busts that out, I love Derreck's facial expressions. Like, whoa, all right. Let me throw a little bit back about the Nigerian nightmare then.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
That's
to throw back to
man.
Priest Holmes, number 31. He was an ageless wonder, man, for quite a while. Remember he had his little comeback for a little bit?
I don't know if you guys remember this game. You remember when they had NFL Street?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Wow.
It followed up NBA Street and the NFL where you could just like these wild things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the two people I would always pick, Priest Holmes or Ricky Williams.
There was,
Ricky
Williams.
Like the two best guys.
Ricky Williams. Oh, my God. Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
I just shake my head every time somebody says that name.
It wouldn't be because of
Ricky Williams.
Yeah. There was a certain head coach of the Saints that gave up his entire draft for Ricky Williams. Even though the Bears still respect this man, I mean, I can't get on board with the fact that Mike Ditka traded away his whole draft to get Ricky Williams, only to have Ricky Williams sit out because he was smoking that ganja. Y'all remember he went to India to find himself? Oh my God! Sorry, BK.
Speaking of smoking that ganja, since we're in the sports rundown, let's go over here to Adelaide Bird. The Canelo, we were going to spend a considerable amount of time on the Triple G Canelo Alvarez results. However, that fight was even more boring than the Mayweather McGregor fight. So yeah, that was kind of anticlimactic. Everybody expected somebody to get knocked the fuck out, and it turned out that it ended up being the most important thing that came out of this was the fact that Adelaide Bird has been getting just verbally mollywopped all over the blogosphere, podcast sphere. You know, everybody on the sphere of Earth says that Adelaide Bird can't judge a damn fight. And on ESPN.com, the story broke earlier this week. Adelaide Bird has stood down as a judge after the Triple G Canelo controversy. Adelaide, say it again.
What was the controversy?
Well, you watched the fight, right? Mm-hmm. That it ended up as a draw when it was clearly not a draw.
Are you talking about that 118 to 113 score?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Specific.
Adelaide produced a scorecard of 118 to 110. See,
that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
But no, I mean, Alvarez didn't win that fight. Even though it wasn't that great of a fight, it was an okay fight because it pretty much was close to a draw. But No, Alvarez didn't win that fight, and so she definitely, if it wasn't for her scorecard, Triple G would have rightfully won that. And so if you go on to ESPN.com, the ESPN staff wrote it at 11:35 a.m. Central earlier today, which is a Monday. And, Golovkin's trainer, Abel Sanchez, said, I think she turned in her scorecard before the fight started. I think she needs to go back to school and learn how to judge a fight. And everybody, even Oscar De La Hoya, he was saying a lot of people are not understanding that 118 to 110, just like myself, that's the bottom line. So, no person who is an experienced fighter or an experienced analyst or even a common watcher of this fight understood where that came from. So, while it's said that a judge gets talked off of their own seat, I mean, maybe it's time for Adelaide Bird to sit the fuck down. So, moment of silence for Adelaide Bird. You are not doing it the player way this week.
Watching that fight, the thing that surprised me the most is that Canelo is Mexican. He looks like he's Irish or something. I mean, he's got red hair. He's got a red beard.
And we're back from a technical difficulty. Apparently, Nate decided to tell everybody who listens to the show, I don't pay attention to sports at all because Canelo Alvarez. First of all, his name is Canelo Alvarez. So the fact that you don't know, but no, yes, he always has been. He always has been.
He's always been
that way.
He's always been what?
Look, his mom must have taken a weekend trip up to San Diego for a weekend or something.
Nacho Libre action. Is that what you're saying? But yeah. Speaking of failed tests, John Jones' B sample came back positive this past week from the failed drug test at UFC 214. Sorry, and I mean his B sample came back with more he pissed hot for more than just the original testosterone replacement therapy enhancing PED treatment. So yeah, he's pretty much done, and now what's being speculated upon is the sample had such a small amount of it. What people are speculating on is that he didn't intentionally take it to beef himself up. He was probably just really dehydrated after the weight cut, and he took something that someone just gave him, and that's what it came back as. But at this point, the dude is.
What do you think?
Coke. I think it doesn't matter. I think if you've been popped for coke and you've been popped once for dick pills from 7-Eleven, I think you just need to stop taking dick pills.
Why even involve yourself with something that could even?
Wait, you talking like extends?
Yeah, I mean that's what that was the first time he got popped. It was literally for dick pills from
really
from when you're on the way out and you done bought a couple 40s like black. And we're back from a technical difficulty. I totally just...
What's crazy is I have nothing to do with none of these. I haven't done anything to do with any of this situation.
Sorry, I'm exhausted. I had a very tough weekend, dude. I worked straight through the weekend. But no, I'm just kind of over it.
I feel like
John Jones,
before this episode is over, I need to say something super hot, ridiculously sports opinion, just World War II related, just to even, just to feel like I got part of the action too.
To feel like you actually corrupted some system.
So what does a pizza and a Jew have in common?
Apparently Nate is putting it back together for you this season.
Well, what does a pizza and a Jew have in common?
Oh, come on.
Oh! Well, we're talking about an Irish Mexican? All right, we're back, I guess. Never mind. I shout out to Jason Podesta.
You tried too hard. We can't grant you one.
Yeah.
We can't grant you one on that one. Now you tried.
Oh, well, I can just finish the joke. I could just finish the joke, and then we can legitimately have one. No, but you're right. I don't need to go down that path. You're right.
It's not,
I'm sorry.
Keep it organic, bro. Listen. Yeah. You have set the bar. The only reason why Nathan and I are doing such a great job at corrupting the system is because you have raised the bar. You got to come with that. You got to come with that hot B sample on this one.
You got spit hot fire, man.
No, I'm sorry. I'm no Dylon.
Listen, you should only sip the finest of breast milks on this podcast.
Oh, God, it disgusts me every time I hear it, but it's still so funny. Because who wants warm milk? What am I, British?
What am I, a little kid who can't sleep at night? But no, so anyway, so yeah, so for sure. Oh, and now on top of that, as a result, what Dana White said, he went on the record and said the rationale behind going ahead and giving the belt back to
DC
to DC is that if he had pissed hot before the match, they would have still had the fight, but then even if he had lost, he wouldn't have lost the belt. It would have been a disqualification win. So kind of like how they used to do back in the day with WWE when somebody ran in, allowed Stone Cold to win over The Rock, but then The Rock got to keep the belt at the end of the fight.
Gotcha.
So is this the end for his UFC career then?
No, it's not. It's the end of his prime because it's going to end up being at least 4-year suspension.
It is going to be 4 years?
He's going to be I mean, that's the by the book thing. So that's if they don't throw the book at him. So he's gonna be coming back at 34. This is kind of like a self-mutilation, self-mutilated, self-induced version of what happened to Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali went into jail in his prime.
Yeah.
So when he came out, he wasn't the same. Or same thing with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson went into jail in his prime, and when he came back out, he wasn't the same. So
does he still get to keep the money that he made from the fight?
There's probably yes and no. He's got to pay these fines from USADA now.
Gotcha.
So not exactly. So and then he's gonna lose all of his sponsors at this point. Whatever once he regained again. So he's done. He's been putting these weird cryptic tweets out that I told you about last week about God's got my back and God won't put you through something. And he also had like this thing where he was singing on Twitter. I mean, it's just over, dude. We all know. Know what you're doing at this point.
Is that your final take on? Is this? Will John Joe? I want to go ahead and nail you down on this one. If phrasing, my bad. Apologies. What as the biggest UFC informant I know, will you ever see him in an octagon in the UFC again?
I'll say this. Yes, you'll probably see him again because money is a thing. And as long as you can make money, people will use you. But I will say that PEDs and testosterone replacement therapy has no place in a sport. The most pure sport is one-on-one combat sports. The whole idea is that you're supposed to train your ass off and then show the results of your training in the ring. If the results of your training is you not disclosing what you're doing, you're then at least tell people what you're doing so that your opponent can have a chance at doing it. You're trying to get an edge. It's as simple as that.
Combat
no
sports is just boom, test and train so it can fight you at your physical prime without any extra. And he's obviously not doing that.
Otherwise, what's the point?
I mean, yeah, I totally agree. I was just curious if you thought he'd ever be in one. So it kind of sounds like maybe not, but possibly in case if it's going to be a money grab.
Yes.
Gotcha. I appreciate that.
4 years down the road, we got the return.
This is what you really want to know.
Him and Conor McGregor.
This is what you really want to know. Will he ever recover his legacy? No, it's over.
All right.
What else we got?
I was curious if, like I said, with regard, I mentioned Crunchyroll earlier just to see if you had, because I feel like I didn't really get to delve into Super with you, but so we can either touch on that really quick, or we can just go into bow ties. It's up to you.
Well, I think that is the bow tie because I told you guys last week I was gonna I reactivated my Crunchyroll account, so I was gonna catch up on some stuff. So yeah, let's do it.
All right, and
let's do that.
Dragon Ball Super episode 107 came out this weekend. I have watched that one. That was so that means you were fully up on. You got to see 17 go off. You got to see Muten Roshi go off.
Yes.
And continue to still go off. And like they've done us right. Like they've done you right as a longtime fan, but they've done me right to see this character from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball Super and just see. Man, this legend is no wonder these guys would always go to his house to just train, man. This guy is incredible as a human, and really got to see the results of Tien Shinhan, his results of his training, and just to see him use Kagebushin, even though I know that's not what he says it, but you get what I'm saying. His cloning technique, just to see all these things that are nice throwbacks to Dragon Ball, wrapped up in Super, and where you just kind of know that they're going up the chain.
Who would have thought that Muten Roshi would have outranked Tien Shinhan?
I would have never, ever thought that.
I saw that coming from a mile away.
Right? You know what I'm saying, Nate? Like, exactly. But honestly, so I really would have thought it would have went Krillin, Roshi, Tien, Piccolo, so on and so forth up the chain, but they have clearly showed that this is not the case. I don't know if you've seen episode 107 yet, BK?
I might have. I don't really keep track of the numbers.
Okay, all right. This one, all right, did you see Vegeta deal with anybody recently? Who's the last person you saw Vegeta deal with?
No, I have not seen
Okay, all right. Well, then 107's on and popping. Your take on the whole 20-minute episode and then 35 minutes remaining, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. Like, the only thing keeping time is the gigantic column in the middle of this thing, and I'm just like, you are like, I would love to see a compilation of, let's see if this is legit 48 minutes if they combine all the fighting, but I don't know. But
now correct me if my memory is not serving me, and you can help refresh my recollection. But am I remembering correctly that the winner of the tournament gets the Super Dragon Balls?
Yes, that is definitely something that happened, but also, more importantly, they get to still exist.
Well, no, what I'm getting at is, I think what the whole idea is that
can possibly wish the other universes.
Yeah, wish them back. I think that's what's going to happen. But I don't think that Universe 7 is going to win. I think it's going to be a different universe, but they're going to respect the other universes by wishing them back.
I agree with that, because the winner of this tournament is not who technically is the strongest. It's who has the most members left at the end. And there's only 2 universes at top right now, 7 and 6, with 8 members left. And so that's and they kind of break it down in 107. So that'll be a good one for you. So it matters not if you have 3 of the strongest fighters. If you have 8 members left, like, oh well, like it's of no consequence. You're getting erased, legitimately erased. Yeah. And we're heading toward the fight of October 8th of Goten versus Jiren, which I've been waiting for so long. And judging by what I've seen, Jiren highlighted what I saw in episode 107.
So you'll actually be here. So you'll be flying back to.
Well, it should maybe it should come out that night, that Saturday night, because that's when I saw the newest one. So Saturday night, I should still be in Atlanta. So we may be.
One, I also have access to Crunchyroll, so we get it like 24 hours earlier than most Americans do.
Nice. So we'll probably be able to actually watch that fight together, right there in Atlanta, Georgia. So, which I'm really looking for. And honestly, I'm gonna speak the truth. What I feel is the truth. From what I've seen, I feel Goku stands 0 chance up against him just based on what I've seen. But if we know our boy in the middle of fights, how he gets stronger in the middle of fighting, he's going to have to make up a lot of ground from what I've seen with this kid. Man, I'm really excited to see that.
Well, no, I expect that him and Vegeta are going to merge.
I don't know if that's allowed in this. You know what I mean? I don't know if they allow it. But it'll be something to see. I'll get my popcorn ready.
They will.
They're going to have to.
Popcorn ready.
Hey, you already know. Man, you know what it feels like to actually talk to your own anime godfather about anime on a podcast that he created? Man, that is so life. This is good times right here, gentlemen. This is good times.
It's good time right here?
This is good times right here.
All right, so what else we got? Let's bow tie it up.
Go
ahead, Nate.
Just a quick hit. This is kind of old news right now, but J.J. Abrams was announced as writer-director of Star Wars Episode 9, which, personally, great idea.
It's kind of going back to how the original trilogy went. It started off with George Lucas, then it went to another guy, and then came back to George Lucas in the end. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I think it's great to have another director do the middle. Say what?
Lucas didn't do Return of the Jedi.
Oh, he didn't? I thought he did. Okay, never mind. My bad.
No. He did our beloved prequels.
Well, there you go.
I honestly, I think it's a great idea. I know people are divided on Episode 7, but Star Wars fans are the worst fans out there because it's an IP that it's so beloved that no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone out there that hates it because it's not what they thought it was going to be. And a lot of people didn't like Episode 7, but $2 billion in the worldwide box office says otherwise.
I mean, how can you not like Kylo Ren? I mean,
well, a lot of people complain about the similarities between Episode 4 and Episode 7.
But it all takes place in this. See, here's what I don't like. All right, so I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second. What I don't like is how people don't think logically. I mean, it all takes place in the same fucking universe. So, I mean, there are going to be some similarities. Just
be like being upset at the Civil War.
I was just about to say this. I love that you went in the same direction. That's like being mad at the fact that Bucky is a super soldier because that's what his friend Steve was. Well, why can't he be something different? Like, what else the fuck is it gonna be? Like, I mean, everybody's going to be inspired by the same stuff. Like, Darth Vader was a badass motherfucker. I mean, like,
so people would look up to him.
I want to be
him. Yes.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're preaching to a choir. I loved Episode 7. It felt more like a Star Wars movie than the prequels ever did.
Yeah, exactly. They probably, I get what it's mad. They probably mad they're probably mad that a black dude got in a stormtrooper suit. That the black dude actually had something to do with something. What's next, Nick? What? And we're back.
Whoa!
And we're back from a technical difficulty. Black people.
We're not going to forget that they were in space in Jason X. They had already made it up there.
Exactly. It's weird. It's just so funny. These same Star Wars fans you speak of, you can go on YouTube right now and watch people's initial reaction after Episode 1 came out and they exclaimed how awesome it was. No, it was a tragedy. That movie was terrible. The moment they opened their mouths and measured the kid's blood and said something about midichlorians, already, it sounded like George Lucas had found out how to make beats in that he heard about a MIDI controller and he just rechanged the words up one day. It's if you go back and watch documentaries about the 2000s, the episodes 1 through 3 trilogy, you just watch that there's a bunch of people who are working for George Lucas that have good ideas, and all he does is walk through a studio and says, yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's cool. I like that too. Like, he basically predicted how Hollywood was going to end up. A bunch of people who don't know anything about filmmaking, who may have done one great thing at one time or another, making decisions for people who are the real creatives. It's like, come on, man. Whoa, I'm on fire today. Whoa.
Man.
Don't do it, Anakin.
I'm still going to say...
You still underestimate my power.
Nice. In unison like that? Yes.
So... What else we got, bro?
Hey,
Moss.
I got nothing in my pockets but lint and buttons.
All right, then. Well, if there's nothing else good for the good of the order, let me take that back.
If
there's nothing else for the good of the order, then shout outs to my co-captains, Nate.
That's me, maintaining the system, still.
And Derek.
That's me, breaking the system.
Anything coming up this week that y'all want people to be watching out for?
They need to look both ways before they cross the street. Tip generously. And if y'all saw the eye roll that I just got from the captain over here.
Honestly, we're all in a place where we're just kind of getting ready for our man trip at this point. So
we're about to start promoting that one. The business.
Yeah, we're about to. And Nate, I do owe you. I got you the font for the upcoming parody graphic. I need to get you the some music after this episode. So hang out after we end the call, and I'll send you that. But if that's all it is, shouts out to my co-captains, and I am at Play Life Your Way on Instagram. BK Jackson, the DJ, resident DJ of the Play Your Way network and the Play Your Way podcast. Catch us every week on iTunes. Again, shouts out to 562 Comics, and big shouts out to the Play Your Way network. Guys, thank y'all for joining us online at playlifeyourway.com. And no matter what paths you choose to take or action you choose to follow, just make sure you're doing that shit the Player way. Now, can I get my Detroit stamping?
Peace out, Rabbit.
See y'all next week.
Detroit stamping? That's very clever, BK. Nice.
Thanks for listening to the Player Way podcast. Recorded in a single take from Los Angeles, California, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, by Nathan Petersen, Derek Lewis, and BK Jackson. Our opening theme is titled Bound by Ricky Remedy, courtesy of Elysian Records. And our closing theme is titled Coconut King Diaries by Xander, spelled Zahnder. You can find this music by both Ricky Remedy and Xander, and many more tracks on SoundCloud. And remember, no matter what choices you make or paths you follow, just make sure you do it the Player way. See you next week.